The Morning Drive is sponsored by Power Metallic. To find out more about the company, please visit their website at powermetallic.com. Follow the Money Investor Group is a 100% Indigenous-owned company and certified with the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business.
How's it going, everyone? Hope you enjoyed the morning drive I filmed with Latin Metals. It was a fun one to do. Currently, I'm back home in Toronto, just driving the Cybertruck to another morning drive, but I got a call from the IR department of Latin Metals, and they said, you know what, Carl, we got some stuff coming up. We want to do an X Space with you, so we just started promoting that, and the X Space is set for June 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can go in the description of this video and sign up, add it to your calendars, and join us for the long version and the extended version of the investment thesis for Latin Metals. And usually when I get a call like that, that means there's something else coming. So hopefully there's some new news to talk about. All right, Latin Metals X Space coming up June 10th, 11 a.m. Eastern. Link is in the description. Enjoy the video. Take care. Keith Henderson, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
You are the CEO of Latin Metals, Inc.
That's true.
Yeah. We're going to go for a morning drive here in beautiful Vancouver. We're in West Vancouver. So I guess our community has not been introduced to your company before. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Where are you from?
Originally, I was born in Northern Ireland.
Okay.
And I lived there for most of my childhood and through adult life. When I got into my early 20s, I was a geologist at that time. I did a degree in geology, and then I did a master's degree in petroleum geology. I really, really fancied the petroleum industry.
Yeah.
But at that time, I guess dollars, maybe, I think oil was maybe at $12 a barrel or something.
US?
It was awful. It was just the worst of times, and there was no work available. So right after I finished that master's degree, I ended up finding myself in East Africa looking for gold.
Okay.
Which was interesting on so many levels. I just loved it. I had such a good time, and I was there for quite a few years. And
do you remember what the price of gold was?
I do. It was about 250.
Wow.
And we worked there for 3 or 4 years, and then the Bre-X excitement happened, and we were working for a company. Ultimately, we were working for a junior company that was Canadian-based, TSX listed, and the money just dried up completely.
Yeah.
And suddenly we found ourselves at home again. So that was the end of that fun. But it was a really great time, and I really never looked back to the petroleum industry. I never worked in it since. Just always been in the mineral exploration world, and really, really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun.
So how did you get involved with Latin Metals? How did that come to fruition?
It's such a long story. I'll try to be brief, but we've got time. We're driving.
It's okay.
I've been a geologist for about 30 years, so I'm 54 years old now. Theoretically, I'm going to be 55 this year.
You look great.
Oh, thanks very much. That's great. I've spent basically 15 years of that 30 years being purely a geologist and working around the world. I've been working in over 20 countries. I've worked in most commodities to some extent, so I've got a lot of kind of broad experience. And then the latter 15 years I've really spent in the junior market in Vancouver, founding companies, CEO companies, and just a completely different thing. But it's a different thing, but it comes with the knowledge that you have from the first 15 years. So when projects land on my desk, I feel like I'm in really well positioned to judge whether they're any good at all, and that really helps me. For the last 8 years or so, I've been CEO of another company called Velocity Minerals, which is doing gold exploration in Bulgaria, in Eastern Europe. That's a project that went well for me, at least initially. We really like to get in and execute and do what we say we're going to do. And we like to have shareholders happy because at least they get what they expect. The industry is very high risk, as you know.
Yeah.
And we can't promise good results, but at least if you kind of go down the line of doing whatever it is you said you were going to do, then you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
And Velocity went spectacularly well. We went from August 2017 we started, and By March 2017, we had our initial inferred resource. By September 2018, a year later, we had the PEA. 2 years after that, pre-feasibility study. So that project went really well, but more recently with that company, we thought, well, let's do something else. And we started to think about strategy. We started to think about offloading the Bulgarian assets. And we set about trying to look at strategic options, particularly trying to sell it to someone. And we ended up getting a buyer out of Turkey, which we announced initially in a letter agreement in October last year. And we basically sold 100% of our assets for $59 million US, which was about 80 million Canadian. And at the time, that was about 160% premium to the market cap.
Okay.
So like in particularly poor markets, we thought that was a really good success. It worked out to about $118 US per proven and probable resource, or reserve ounce rather, and that's superb, really good metrics. It's about 87% rate of return. So we're happy with that. That's gone through definitive agreements now. It's gone through shareholder approval, and it's kind of going through the process of closing, and it closes over a couple of steps, but ultimately we'll receive a lot of cash into that company. So with all of that now done, I'm really turning my attention to Latin metals.
Okay.
And to finally answer your question, I suppose Latin metals started.
Yeah.
It was a pre-existing issue where it was basically a standard junior exploration company, and we were drilling a copper porphyry project in Argentina called Esperanza, and we came up with this magnificent hole. It was 387 meters from surface. It was open at depth, 0.57% copper, 0.27 grams per ton gold. So depending on how you make that calculation, that's around 1% copper equivalent. Absolutely superb. And at the time, that was in Q1 2018. And at the time, when you looked at the data on all the other intersections that were happening in the world, it was the third best intersection in the entire world on copper alone, not counting the gold.
Yeah.
And it was only beaten by Timok and Cascabel, both of which were deep holes. Like you had to drill between 700 meters and 1300 meters to get to the top of those intersections. Ours was going from surface. So like it was, man, I was so happy. I was dancing in the streets. I thought, finally, this is it. Like we have just made it. This is going to change the company forever.
Nice.
And it did, but not for the reasons that I thought. So
Okay, that's exciting.
we put the news release out.
But when was that?
Q1 2018.
Okay.
And I'm sitting watching Stock Watch, like I'm watching television. The news release comes out. I'm just waiting for it to go.
Catch a bit.
And it went down. Just a little bit. And then it went down a little bit more. And then everyone's looking at it going, there must be something wrong with this intersection. And it started going down like you can't believe.
Really? Do you remember what percentage it went down that day?
I don't remember. It was significant enough. I was deeply upset. I was just disillusioned, like really disillusioned, because it was a superb program. It was a superb piece of exploration.
Was there a big run-up leading into that?
No,
or?
nothing.
So, okay.
The market was terrible at that time. Like copper at that time was $2.40, $2.50. So it's a different time for copper too.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. It was not quite as simple as it would have been today, but it didn't work. So that really made us think. And so we thought, what are we going to do with this company? Like this can't be sustainable, where you simply keep raising money, you keep diluting the shareholders, you keep drilling holes, and you're not delivering on the share price. And the share price is the only thing that matters. Like if people aren't making money on their investment, what is the point? And why would they invest?
That's correct.
So we really sat down and thought about it, and we thought, prospect generator, let's try it. Like
less risk?
Well, it's much less dilutive. It's like all we really do as a prospect generator, we have to have a lot of skill in terms of getting to
evaluating projects.
Yeah, it's got to be the right project if it's going to attract.
Which you said earlier is your strength.
I think so.
Yeah. So that's comfortable for you.
It's my strength. It's also the strength of our exploration manager, recently promoted to VPX, Eduardo Leon. He's a Peruvian geologist. He's unique. He's got this amazing ability as a geologist, and it's not common among geologists, but he sees the kind of value that companies need and look for. So he finds projects, and then bigger companies come and they want to take a part of it. And that's superb for us. Like we spend a little bit of money getting into drill targets, and then bigger companies come and spend all of the high risk dollars, all of the extensive drilling and everything else, and we maintain either a minority interest or a royalty or both.
Yeah.
And so we're diluting at the asset level, but we're not diluting the shareholders. So where you ultimately make your money, which is in the shares, is not getting diluted, or at least we're minimizing it.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy to do. Like when the market's bad and your share price is not really getting there. Like the last couple of years, it's been challenging to kind of minimize dilution so much, but it'll come.
Yeah.
And certainly we're seeing a change in the space. Like we've spent all of this time putting projects together. We're now partnered with AngloGold Ashanti, with a private copper producing company called Moxico. We've got another couple of partners coming. I'm expecting that if things go according to plan, that we'll have $19 million invested in our projects, which will not be dilutive to shareholders.
Right.
In this year, in 2025. And we're raising $1 million right now. So it's like 19 to 1 ratio.
Yeah.
Isn't that superb?
Yeah.
What a great model. And nobody seems to do it properly. Like all of the companies that set themselves up as prospect generators, they all do it for a couple of years and they're blah, 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 prospect generator. And then eventually they'll run out of patience and they think to themselves, we should drill a few holes. And then off they go and they start drilling, or they start calling themselves a hybrid prospect generator, and they're drilling and they're spending money, they're raising money, and it blows
diluting
the model out of the water.
Yeah, because they dilute.
Exactly.
Right.
So we've been really disciplined. We haven't drilled a hole since 2019 when we did this change. All we did really was we consolidated the company to start again. We renamed it. We announced the prospect generator model, and we have not deviated. Not once. And it's starting to pay off. And people are coming to us now. The companies, I'll admit it's been a bit tough for a couple of years. I was making outgoing calls a lot, looking for partners, but now partners are calling us. And it's maybe not so much the very biggest companies, but certainly the mid-tier companies seem to have a great appetite. Like once companies see commodity prices doing what they're doing, they've got a little bit more exploration budget, but guess what? They've got no projects to explore.
Right.
And the appetite for projects that have actually got drill permits is absolutely huge at the minute, and we've got a few of those. So we're obviously having active discussions with a lot of people.
How many projects do you have now?
I think it's 19 projects.
19?
Through Argentina and Peru. The ones in Argentina are generally a little bit more advanced because they were mostly projects that sat within that predecessor company, so they had a bit more work done to them. But the ones in Peru are catching up fast. We've got one drill permit in Peru. We've got another project that we think we can drill permit. So those are kind of coming along, and people are starting to look at those as well. So yeah, hopefully those can get going too. But the main catalysts for this year are in Argentina.
Yeah.
The project that AngloGold is optioned in on is called Organullo. And that just is interesting as a general concept. Bigger companies like AngloGold Ashanti, companies used to always look for 1 million ounce deposits.
Yeah.
Now it's 5.
Yeah.
Again, it didn't go to 2, 3, or 4. It just went straight
Inflation.
to 5. Yeah. So, 5 is the new one. And to put that in context, like you might have 10 discoveries of that nature in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm making that up, but that's sort of it.
Yeah, I see your point.
So they're looking at a brand new target on that property that nobody's ever looked at before. It's super interesting. I can't believe no one ever saw it. They have a direct analogy to a project in Chile that Gold Fields have, which is about 4.5 grams per ton, 4 million ounces. It's high sulfidation deposit, but that's what they think they're looking for. They believe that they've got a good opportunity there. They tell me that this is their best exploration project in the world, and they're active in lots of different countries, and this is the one. So they've been permitting that for a couple of years. Permitting's hard in the world, right? It's worked hard everywhere, but they've been very patient, and they're going to be drilling this year because that permit's just about to come.
Why do you like those areas to explore? It seems like you just stick to those two.
In Argentina, there's 3 provinces that are fundamentally easy to work in, and that's because there's a federally regulated mining law, but also the provinces have got quite a bit of say in how things are run and how things are done. And some provinces just historically have been really against mining.
Yeah.
For example, the province of Chubut outlawed open pit mining. They just did it. They're going, okay, well, so we had a project there, so what I did with that was I sold it to somebody else and took a royalty.
Okay.
And so that I didn't have to really expose myself to the risk of that open pit mining ban. There will be a referendum at some point. It'll probably get lifted, but in the meantime, I don't need to focus. But Salta, San Juan, and Santa Cruz provinces seem to be, historically over the last 20-25 years, those are the provinces that have really been supportive of mining, and we just make life easy for ourselves by staying there.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about the capital structure of the company. I mean, you know, what do you got invested in this thing? How many shares do you have? What percentage do you own?
I forget the number of shares. I think it's about 2.6%, and I've spent $525,000 buying them. So it's not, because it was a pre-existing issue where I didn't turn up and get a whole bunch of free founder shares. I just had to go and buy them. So I've done that. And continue to buy. I've generally participated and maintained my position, at least in all of the financings. The share structure is super interesting. We've got a very big shareholder who's on the board, and him combined with me and a few other people in and around the company in the management team, that adds up to about 45%. So you can imagine those shares just don't trade. They're all reporting, right? So they're not trading at all. We've got 2-3 really, really good brokers in town that have been just really faithful to us. Like they came when we announced the prospect generator model in 2019. At that point, they bought 2 million shares. They've been buying ever since in the market. They've been buying in all of our private placements, and they've now got 33 million shares on the books. And then we have a couple of other big and significant shareholders. Like, all of this adds up to about 82% of the company. We've got another 5% sitting with underlying vendors that we've optioned properties from, so it takes you to 87%. So basically you're looking at about 12 to 15 million shares that are actually trading.
Wow.
Which, if you look at the company, sort of helps account for liquidity. It's not massively liquid. It trades every day, and it trades plenty, but it's not trading as much as you might think. And it's because there's just not a lot for sale right now, and there's not going to be.
So if somebody wants to get a decent position, they're going to have to move the price.
They're going to have to go to market. Like, because we don't spend a ton of money on anything, including exploration. We do get money in from our incoming partners. So, like, for example, AngloGold Ashanti are about to give me a check for $200,000 US. You know, all of those add together. They really help us with our G&A. So we end up raising, over the years, about $1 million per year, and that's what we're doing right now, and that's kind of scheduled. We were supposed to be doing it. There isn't any more need for money, and so there isn't ever a lot of opportunity for people to come and get in on a private placement. Like 45% sitting with the insiders and the management. Guess what? We're maintaining our position, so and that's $1 million down to 500 right away, and the other 500 disappears real quick too. So it is always going to be the kind of a project on a company where you're just going to have to go into the market and buy it if you want it.
Okay. What would you say is your favorite thing about running this company? You know, every day. Like, what keeps you really passionate about it?
I like the quality of the project. I like the fact that a company like AngloGold Ashanti will walk into my office and say, "We want to come look at your project," because I know what they're looking for. Like, I've worked in big companies. I was with Anglo American for 5 years, and I'll say what they're looking for and what they want to find is sometimes very unrealistic, but I know there's always a high hurdle rate. So if my projects are the ones that get companies like that knocking on the door, I'm really proud of that. Like, I think we're doing a good job in identifying the right projects. We're a really small, tight team. We don't need a ton of people to run this company. So in Vancouver, it's me, a CFO, and investor relations. We've got our exploration manager in South America and another couple of key people down there, and that's it. So we're tight. We've been together for years. We all believe that it's going to work, and so there's a real sense that the success is just around the corner, and so it's an exciting place to be.
And what would you say the biggest thing that a new potential shareholder should understand about your company? You cover quite a bit, but if there's one thing, if somebody's watching this video and they're interested, what would you say what would you say is the what's the number one thing you would tell them?
2025 catalysts, because it has been a tough couple of years, and I've got a lot of shareholders who've been very, very, very patient with me and with the company over the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And I thank them all. But if I'm a new shareholder hearing about this for the first time today, and I think there's 19,000 meters of drilling coming this year, and everything's about to happen, I'm going to be pretty glad that I'm here today and not 3 years ago. So
timing.
it's such a perfect time to hear about the company, and that's why we're out talking about it. Like we didn't go out promoting for 3 years until we felt very sure that the catalysts were coming.
Right.
Because what's the point? You're just going to really annoy people.
And burn money.
Yeah, people. Yeah. Well, you spend money on it. People spend their money buying the shares, and then they're sitting there going, "Well,
what's going on?
What do we do here?" Like, so you know, if you're going to promote, try and do it when you know you're about to deliver. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well, since you're going to hopefully have lots of news flow this year, I look forward to probably doing maybe another one of these, or maybe some of the other things that we do, the other communities we have. And I want to say thank you very much for the interview today.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
The insights into your company, and I know I'll have it out on my watch list for sure. And hopefully we can bring you some new attention and maybe some new shareholders.
That would be great. Good stuff. Thanks a million.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Follow the Money Investor Group is a 100% Indigenous-owned company and certified with the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business.